Just a quick train ride from London takes you to a city where Roman history and Georgian excellence blend into something seriously magical. Bath feels like a storybook come to life, and in this video we're spending the day uncovering what makes it so unforgettable and helping you to plan your journey to this special city. Let's jump in. We left early from London's Paddington station, and after saying hi to Paddington himself, we were on the train for the 1.5 hour ride to Bath. Quick note, be sure to book this way in advance, as the closer you get to your date, the more expensive it becomes. It's an easy and relaxing ride through the beautiful English countryside, and pretty quickly we arrived in Bath. We have about 6 hours to explore. We're going to do as much as we possibly can, starting the day with Buns. One of the best things about the city of Bath is just how walkable it is. You don't have to utilize public transit at all to visit the main sites, as everything is basically a 10 to 15 minute walk max away from each other. We started the day with a visit to Sally Lunn's Buns, which is a pastry shop and restaurant inside of the oldest house in Bath, dating back to 1482. The buns are not what you think. They're not like a cinnamon roll or a sticky bun. They're more of a cross between a brioche and a dinner roll. At Sally Lunn's, they're served hot with either sweet or savory options.
They're so fluffy and light, buttery, and the sweet lemon on top.
We got one with lemon curd and one with jam and clotted cream, and note that this place gets busy. That is the way to start your time in Bath. Those were incredible.
So good.
I liked both the lemon curd and I loved having the clotted cream on the jam. Did you have a favorite?
Both were great, but yeah, the lemon curd was my absolute favorite.
Plus, people were just stopping by the windows and looking in. There's probably 30 people that came by while we were there, so definitely try that. We're gonna go to the other Bath Bun later. One's right down that alley, that's the one we just went to, and then here's the other one. There are two famous Bath Bun places, so stay to the end of the video to see our review of the second one. But from here we walked the 3 minutes over to the historic Abbey churchyard area, which surrounds two of the most famous attractions in the city. We headed to the Roman baths first, as that's the place that gets the most busy throughout the day. Are you ready to explore the Roman baths?
I am. Let's do it.
The Roman bath is basically why the city of Bath exists, and they were built by the Romans in 70 AD. They're actually one of the best preserved Roman remains in the world, and you can easily spend a half day exploring, especially if you want to listen to the full audio tour and read all the plaques. So what's crazy is that there were houses here, and they actually had to purchase the houses to demolish it in order to start the excavation of this site. So this used to have a roof, and it was one of the tallest buildings in Roman Britain when it was here. The site has been meticulously preserved since they unearthed it, and you can see original Roman paving stones, pillars, and pools. Plus, the sacred spring is still flowing, but more on that later in the video. Here's all the land that Rome had control over. You can see we're way up here. If you have the time, you should definitely do the audio guide. The museum here is extensive, and it has so many artifacts to see that you definitely want to learn more about them. One of the most interesting was the curse tablets, which were individual curses and prayers that people wrote and then threw into the pools.
All of those artifacts were found in the spring because people would come to give an offering, throw it in there.
We spent a good amount of time in the museum, but it was starting to get busy, so we made our way through some more of the ruins and headed towards the sacred spring. While it may seem like this is the spring, this is actually the overflow of the spring, and 240,000 gallons of water rise here daily. And it has to go somewhere, so it actually flows through here towards the baths. From here was out to the Great Bath, which was the centerpiece of this historic site. If you've ever seen anything about the Roman baths, then chances are this is the photo you've seen. It really is unique with the crazy green water below, and that comes from the algae, which is why you can't swim in it anymore. There are also many offshoots off the Great Bath, which show other baths, changing rooms, saunas, and their ruins as well.
This is such an incredible piece of history. I had no idea it was going to be this unique to explore here.
One of the last stops on the tour is the sacred spring, and you can see that it is still bubbling today. Don't forget to taste the water. All right, and Amy's going to taste the healing water of Bath. Hopefully not the one with the algae on the top.
Oh my gosh. Tastes like warm water.
It's very mineral. The warmness is a little strange. Hopefully it's healing my wounds. That's an amazing place to explore. There's so much history. Plan a couple hours if you really want to listen to the audio tour and dive into everything, and you definitely should.
It's definitely a must-see when you come to Bath.
It's a must-see when you come to England in general. Right next to it was the Bath Abbey, and we were planning to explore that next, but they had a service going on. You couldn't take any pictures, so we decided to come back after the service later on in the afternoon. From there, we headed out past the City Parade Gardens to the River Avon to see the Pulteney Bridge. Walking up to it is a pretty iconic view in Bath, as the weir below it helps to control the water levels and makes for those amazing postcard views. Bath is blowing my mind right now. It is so incredible to walk along the water, to see the bridge, to see the little waterfall. This is an amazing city. As you approach the bridge itself, note that it was built in 1770, and it's one of only 4 bridges in the world that have shops that go across the entire thing and line both sides. Also, what's funny is that this is the bridge right here. It doesn't look like you're on a bridge, and you can see all the shops going down the main street. This bakery also has an amazing couple of tables right there that look out over the water, if you get lucky enough to get them. While I was exploring the bridge, Amy decided to do a 10-minute walk to a filming location for Bridgerton.
This behind me is the Holborn Museum, which served as the facade of Lady Danbury's house in the Netflix show Bridgerton.
This is also a great time to talk about our sponsor for this video, Away.
I love Away. This is a bag I've used exclusively for the past 5 years. It's gone all the way around the world, across cobblestone streets in Europe, and countless road trips. And these are the new bags I got just this year to make quick weekend trips even easier. I have the Everywhere bag and the bigger carry-on, both in cloud gray. Isn't she pretty? I love that I can fly without checking bags, as the carry-on goes above me, and the Everywhere bag can be put under the seat since it meets airline requirements for a personal item. Plus, I love the aesthetic of the matching colors as well, especially since the bag stacks right on top of the carry-on. I mean, look at this thing. I can open it completely and there's so much space in there. Inside there's a nice compression system to maximize packing space. Then outside, the wheels glide like butter over everything you throw at them. I also like that the handle has 2 height settings and it comes with a TSA approved lock. My favorite part is that it's not only well made, it's also stylish and functional for someone who travels as much as I do. If you want 10% off your first order at Away, click the link in the description or scan the QR code here. Let's head back to Bath.
After meeting up with Amy, we found the small staircase that heads down to the Riverside Walk, and don't miss this when you're here. Amy and I already have reservations at a different restaurant, but if you want to eat right along the water, there's a Thai food place called Thai Weir, I'm guessing, and you can order your food and then you can come sit right here. Be sure to let me know how this spot is if you give it a try, because I would definitely come back to eat here in the future. For us though, we just walked along the river with our goal being to get down to the next bridge and see some of the sights. How was your Bridgerton experience?
It was so awesome. The house looks just like it from the movie, and Lady Danbury is one of my favorite characters.
As Amy and I were walking along the river, we could not believe how beautiful the views were, especially stretching back across the river towards the Bath Abbey. I mean, this is one of those quintessential European cities, like what you'd think of when you see Europe in the movies, and it's definitely better in real life than it is in this video.
I'm pretty sure this is one of my favorite towns in England so far.
We got reservations at a restaurant called Sotto Sotto that a few locals recommended to us, and it's tucked down beneath the street level in a stone cellar.
This feels fancy for lunch.
This is consistently one of the highest rated restaurants in Bath, and I have to say it was well priced for what you got, especially after spending the last 30 days in London. It felt like I was getting a deal for such an amazing and even romantic lunch. This was a great spot for lunch, and everything we had was top level.
Wow. That was so good.
While it wasn't that busy for lunch, I'm guessing you're definitely going to need a reservation for dinner, as this is a small spot without a lot of seats. If you're looking for a nice fine dining in the middle of lunch, which I did not know I was going to be eating that fancy, I would have dressed up a little bit, but that didn't make me feel out of place, so 2 thumbs up to that spot. Let's go explore more Bath. This is definitely how I feel after that lunch I just ate.
You and me both, for sure.
On our way over to Bath Abbey, we saw an awesome looking bookstore with 3 floors, and so we decided to go in and explore. This spot is deceptively big. There's a lot to explore on the 3 levels, with different collections of books ranging from kids' books to mysteries and thrillers. The staff here was great as well, and they helped us to pick out some fun books for our children while we were exploring. From there, it was only a 3-minute walk over to the Bath Abbey, past buskers and people just taking in the beautiful England day that we had. This building specifically dates back to the 1500s, but supposedly this site has housed churches since the 7th century. When you walk in and see the massive vaulted ceilings, it is jaw-dropping. There's so much history to see here, from the stained glass windows to the walls and even the inscriptions on the ground. It's just amazing to be walking around here and to see 1792, 1788. We've even seen ones from the 1600s. And this is one of the most impressive parts of the Abbey, is just all of the different memorials that are on the wall. Don't leave before seeing the east window, which has 56 scenes from the life and teachings of Jesus Christ. It was installed in the late 1800s, but it's only half original as it was severely damaged during the Blitz in World War II. You can also pay to climb the tower for great views of Bath, but we weren't able to do that on this trip. Heading on, we walked the beautiful restaurant and shop-lined streets up to our next stop. Here, within 3 houses of each other, you can find areas dedicated to 2 famous writers. They couldn't be more different than each other though, and we started with Mary Shelley's House of Frankenstein. We're exploring Mary Shelley's house, but I didn't know it was going to be a horror museum too. It's going to be interesting.
I wasn't sure I was signing up for something like this.
They told me this is the only museum in the world dedicated specifically to Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. And it really is unique how they created it. It feels almost creepy as you're exploring the 3 different floors. But alongside the creepy designs, they have all sorts of information about Mary Shelley herself, about how she wrote most of Frankenstein while she lived in Bath, about the original story of Frankenstein, which is a lot different than any of the movies I'd ever seen. Here's all of the horrible reviews of Frankenstein when it was written. The head and the heart of the author must be diseased. The foulest toadstool that has yet sprung up from the reeking dunghill of the present time. Then it goes on to say this is often cited as one of the most influential books in the history of literature. And then even at the top, it has an actual Frankenstein monster designed based on the way that she wrote him in the book, which is much different than what we normally associate with the Frankenstein monster.
Is somebody just gonna make a noise because I'm focusing so hard?
No, it's only if you touch the metal. It didn't even do anything and you got scared.
I scared myself. You built that up too much.
We found Frankenstein and we got her tied up in the room. It's so good. There was also some sort of horror maze down in the basement, but Amy wouldn't go with me, so we decided to continue on. That's a great museum. It's such an interesting way to tell the story. There's like a horror thing at the bottom that neither one of us went to, and now we're going to the complete opposite. Jane Austen. Like a total 180 from Frankenstein. Do you think anybody's gonna jump out at us at the Jane Austen Center?
I'm not getting that vibe here right now at all.
The Jane Austen Center is a different experience, and I can't show much of it here as they don't allow photos and videos during the main section. Basically, it was a 20-minute performance where someone pretended to be a character from the novel and told the entire history of Jane Austen and her connection with Bath. Then once that's over, there's a tiny museum that you can walk through that gives you more information on Jane Austen, where Bath comes up in the different stories, and even gives you a section where you can try on some period clothes. After the performance, I would say you could go through the museum in 20 to 30 minutes while reading most everything that they have in there. And then there's also a shop on the way out that the people on our tour seemed really excited about. That's a small museum, but there's a 15-minute presentation that they do where they talk to you all about Jane Austen and you learn a lot more about her. So I would say it's pretty cool, especially if you're a fan. We got a few more stops to see before we get back on the train. Less than a 5-minute walk away brought us to our next stop, the circus. Don't expect to see any elephants or circus performance here. This comes from the Latin word circus, which means circle, and it's basically a curved street made up of 3 sections of elegant Georgian townhouses. So that's the circus right there, and we are walking down to the Royal Crescent. Less than a 5-minute walk brings you to the Royal Crescent, one of the finest examples of 18th century architecture in England. And here it is, the Royal Crescent.
And right here on the very end is the facade for the Featherington house from Bridgerton, which is in all 3 seasons, and the main character is Penelope Featherington. In season 3, it's her house.
It's a lot of information about Bridgerton.
Hey, I know a good amount.
Here's the area you can access as the public, and then That grass over there is private only for the people who live in the Crescent. The Royal Crescent is one of the most well-known streets in the United Kingdom and has been featured in many movies. The gardens outside of it are a popular place for people to congregate during the summer and hang out in the nice weather. If you're interested in the period as much as Amy is, then be sure to go into the museum that's located right on the corner of the Royal Crescent. Known as No. 1 Royal Crescent, it's basically a time capsule back to the 1700s, as it's a fully restored townhouse that's been turned into a museum. And it's designed to show what Bath was like for its wealthy elite during the Georgian era. It has some cool interactive elements like a story that's told through digital displays about the family that lived here. And we were told that every room is furnished with authentic 18th century furniture, wallpaper, and decor.
These windows look out over the grass area so you could watch what was going on, and between 12 and 2 is when promenading was popular. And so you'd go out and you'd walk around and be seen whoever you may be recording.
Everybody would just stare at you through the window.
Yeah, you didn't even need to go outside.
Stop looking at all those people promenading out there.
Yeah, I gotta see what's going on.
Once you see the bedrooms on the top level, then the story changes a little bit and you learn more about the servants who worked for the family. We just walked down 4 flights of stairs to get to the kitchen the way that the servants would have walked down. They didn't get to take the same staircase. In the mid-18th century, a male cook was paid £60 a year and a female cook was paid £10 a year. You would have had to work 6 years to make the same amount of money as me as a cook.
It's wild, and I would have been way better, 100%.
I agree. It's definitely a pricey day to see all those museums, but we're just showing you all so you can pick which ones you want to go to. That one is amazing if you're interested in 18th century architecture and you want to be able to go into one of the buildings that's in the Royal Crescent. Definitely pretty cool.
Yeah, I really love that one, being able to see how a family operated and just the way that it looked. I love that kind of stuff.
Now we have one more stop before we get back on the train. Leaving the Royal Crescent behind, we walked back through the circus and then down towards the city center of Bath. And for our last stop of the day, we're back to where we started to try the other Bath bun. We haven't even got our tea yet, but I have to say the ambiance of this spot is pretty strong.
Feels very magical.
Unlike Sally at Lunn's Buns, the Bath bun is a brioche-type roll topped with sugar crystals and raisins. It's also served cold instead of hot, and we opted to get jam, clotted cream, and then of course tea to go with it. Putting it on top after we asked and they said to cut it now, but we didn't know in the beginning.
Yeah, don't tell me I'm the amateur. You had no idea either.
All right, try it. You don't need to, now you're just destroying it.
Cheers. They're so good. It's so different than the other one, though. This feels like way more like a dinner roll with some good stuff on top.
There's even sugar in the middle of the roll, and it comes with raisins. Cheers to a great day in Bath, and the sounds of Proud Mary by Creedence being played behind us. This one's definitely good too. It's interesting to have the crystallized sugar in the middle, but I do like the hot one. I would say they're both good though. You can't really go wrong. So something cool that they said is that that's a 300-year-old recipe, and that the doctor who used to make those for his patients, because the mineral water is so intense, the flavor, the one that we tried earlier, that the sugar inside helped to cut out that flavor a little bit. That's it for our day in Bath. Honestly, this is one of the most perfect day trips you can take from London. Definitely do it. Amy, what did you think?
It is so beautiful, and you're gonna love it.
Yeah, let us know what you think in the comments. You can see more day trips up here, and we will see you on the next one. In case you were wondering, it's also very easy to get the train back to London. We picked the time that we wanted to leave, got on the train, had our assigned seats, and an hour and 20 minutes later we arrived in Paddington Station. Definitely do some day trips when you're in London and let us know what you think in the comments. Alright, we'll see you on the next one.